Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today is the Easter day. So there are many people in the retreat or, has a vacation with family members. But we still have this Dharma talk on Śurangama Sutra digest too. And before we start, let's do the verse for beginning the sutra first. Please join palms together. The unsurpassed, profound, and sublime Dharma is difficult to encounter even in a billion aeons. Today we see, hear, receive, and uphold it, vowing to fathom the true meaning of the Tathagata. Okay. All right. Just a quickly recap what's the last talk about. Last talk is the beginning of the sutra. It explained that in what condition and what is the scenario happened to Ananda, so that Ananda asked Buddha to teach the this sutra. Okay, so when Ananda requests the Buddha to teach the so-called the wondrous samatha, samabadi, and vipassana, dhyana, this is due to the story that he was taken by a spell, and that Ananda lost the control of himself and almost lost control of himself and almost break the fundamental precepts, and he is going to lose his monkhood. And then so Buddha sent Manchuria with Śurangama Sutra mantra to save him. And then so that's the reason Buddha teach this sutra. And then the sutra's title is called the Sutra of the Foremost Śurangama at the Great Buddha's Summit, concerning the main three topic, the hidden cause of Tathagata's practice. And this is related to the wondrous samatha. And then his certification to the practice and attainment of the ultimate truth. This is related to the wondrous samabadi and all bodhisattvas mirage practices. This is related to the wondrous dhyana. And that's pretty much the three main topics in the title. So last time we also introduced the content of the 10 chapters of the sutra, and we talk about the prologue, the occasion for the teaching last time. And then so this talk, we are going to start to introduce the so-called the wondrous samatha, and it's related to the principle of the Buddha Dharma. And the chapter 1 is about the nature and location of the mind. And then so when Ananda asked for the teaching, and Buddha asked, Ananda, at the time of your initial resolve, when you make your vows, initial vows that you want to leave home and become a monk, what were the special characteristics you saw that caused you to suddenly cast aside the mundane, deep and substantial passionate love? So Ananda replied, because I saw the Tathagata's 32 characteristics. So basically he saw Buddha's, majestic appearance. And then the appearance is so supremely wonderful and incompatible that his entire body had a shimmering transparency, just like that of crystal, and so on and so forth. And just try to describe that how majestic Buddha's appearance are. And Ananda can feel that all this appearance cannot be born of desire and passionate love, because, there are many reasons that we will talk about later on. And that's why I eager to follow the Buddha, then receive the ordination from the Buddha. And so this also happened to, if you have read the Earth Store Sutra, that why the girl want to make the vow to deliver all sentient beings in the Tathagata, in the Earth Store Sutra, is he saw the Buddha's supreme appearance. And that's why the girl want to, follow the Buddha's teaching to deliver all sentient beings in order to have this majestic appearance. So this majestic appearance, or the 32 characteristics, are not obtained by mundane ways. It need to have the virtues and merits from your practice. And Ananda can feel that. So when he saw Buddha's appearance, he make his vow that I wanted to follow Buddha's path. Okay, so now there are two things that we need to explain. What is called the initial resolve. When we want to do something, we have our original or initial vows that we determined to follow. For example, when we are young, and then we think that helping people is good, so you make your vows, I want to become a doctor, and then so I can save people's life. And that's your initial vows. You want to save people. So that's why you choose to become a doctor. Or you found that education is very important, and then so you want to become a professor or a teacher. And so you can educate our next generation to become a better person and happier person. And that's your initial vows. And this initial vows is very important even for ordinary people, that it gives us a strength to overcome all the difficulties. And it gives us a goal and a direction for us to work hard. And so, but for Buddhism, it means more. The initial resolve from the Avatamaka Sutra, there is a sentence saying that once the initial resolve is made, the ultimate enlightenment is accomplished. The true nature of all the Dharma is realized, and the wisdom body is fulfilled. That means when you make this initial resolve, it's the causes for you to attain Buddhahood. And it happened at the same time. So oftentimes in many sutras, when we encounter difficulties or strong vexations, always Buddha will bring us back to our initial resolve. Why you want to follow the path, why you want to become a Buddhist, and why you want to leave home. That kind of why you want to follow the Bodhisattva path. All these are our initial resolve. And then so we need to clarify this. And the second part is about the Tathagata's 32 characteristic. You see the picture on your right. This is the picture taken from the Bodh Gaya. There is a temple called the Great Enlightenment. And this Buddha statue, according to the tourist guide, that this was certified by an old lady after Buddha passed away, who have seen Buddha in person. She verified that. She asked her grandchildren to make these statues, and then she verified that this is very like the Buddha himself. So, and many people try to duplicate or make a replica of these Buddha statues, but somehow cannot have this flavor. Okay, so here the so-called 32 characteristics describe all the significant appearance of the Buddha, from the head, the eyes, the eyeball, eye slash, nose, tongues, ears, neck and bone and chest, and every part of the body has very special appearance. And this special appearance come from the merits of the Buddha. So oftentimes we will use these characteristics to, kind of see, if you have one or two, that means you practice better, you practice better in your past life. That's why you have this characteristic in this life, that kind of things. But what the appearance, for example, last time we talked about Ananda and Mahakashyapa. One looks very, sorry, where is Ananda? Ananda looks very like Buddha, and then Mahakashyapa does not look handsome at all. And then this is Master Hong Yi. Left is when he was a lay person, and the right is become a monk. He, of course, a handsome guy when he was a lay person, and then he looked majestic, after become a monk. And this is our master, Sheng Yan. When he was a soldier, he looks like very good. And then become a young monk. They all look very good. But then the one on your left is the sixth patriarch. On your right is the Guangqing, Master Guangqing. The both are very high practitioners, okay, or very enlightened ones. They does not look handsome like Mahakashyapa. So what does the characteristic, 32 characteristic means? Now we have to talk about the levels of beauty and purity, because that's basically what happened in the story. Okay. Now, the first, when we see the people or thing are beautiful or pure, that can be from our sensational judgments. Okay, so from our subjective perceptions. So everyone thinks that their girlfriends or boyfriends are beautiful, handsome, but not other people's girlfriends and boyfriend, right? So the girls that attached to Ananda very much is, she saw Ananda's appearance and she immediately fall in love with Ananda, and then she put herself in a situation that she need to get him. even with use a spell. Okay, so that's the sensational subjective perception that how we judge the things is beautiful or pure. And then that's Ananda's outlook. And the second level is called rational. Is more objective examination. For example, the Buddha's 32 characteristics. So everybody knows that this Buddha's appearance and is good, and that means you practice better. And then so we have our more objective criteria for us to determine that you are beautiful or pure or not. Okay, for example, I heard people say that if you, in order to look good, your nose, your eye, you need to have a big eyes and a nose, you know, and your lips and ears, and you need to have a white skin and all that, and long legs, all that appearance. We have some criteria to examine, just like the Buddha's appearance as well. But that this is what happened to Ananda's perception with the Buddha's appearance. That's more rational. And then the women that fall in love with Ananda is more sensational. Now, then once Buddha confirmed with Ananda about his initial resolve to become a monk, then Buddha continued to ask, you know, you all should know that since time without beginning, all living beings are bound to the cycle of birth and death. It is because they do not know the everlasting true mind, the nature of which is pure and luminous in essence. Instead, they engage in deluded thinking. This kind of thinking is untrue. And that's why the cyclic turning of death and rebirth continue. So Buddha directly point out that no matter you are use your subjective perception or you are use objective examination, you are not using your true mind, you know. So that's why you cannot see what's the true, the real beauty and the real purity, and which is beyond the subjective and objective criteria. Okay, so if we can see things based on our true reality, then we can see the true beauty, the true purity of all the sentient beings, which are the true face of all beings. Okay, so that's what the Buddha trying to aspire Ananda to reflect, you know. When you see Buddha's appearance looks so good, but you did not see my true face. Okay, so Buddha continued to ask Ananda, you made the resolve to attain full awakening when seeing the 32 hallmarks of the Tathagata. What was it that saw those hallmarks? And who was it that took delight in them and loved them? You know, who see it and who love it, basically. Ananda said to the Buddha, Urot Anarva, I delighted in them and loved them with my mind and eyes. Okay, my mind and my eyes. I saw with my eyes the excellent hallmarks of the Tathagata, and my mind admired and delighted in them. In this way, I become resolved to Okay, so now two things come up, mind and eyes. Okay, so throughout this chapter, this sutra, Buddha focused on the eyes, the seeing, the eyes and the mind and the seeing, and use this to teach the whole sutra. Okay. So the problem is, okay, Ananda mentioned the minds and eyes. When the eyes see something, and then the mind loves it. Okay. So now Buddha continue. It is as you say, your mind and eyes were the reason for your admiration and delight. And someone who does not know where his mind and eyes will not be able to overcome the stress and wellness of engagement with perceived objects. Okay, please remember this term. In Chinese, it's very simple, 陈老, but in English, it becomes the stress and wellness of engagement with perceived object. Okay. Consider, for example, when bandit invaded, when a soldier tried to, beat the enemy, the soldier got to know where the enemies are, right? It is the fault of your mind and eyes that you are bound to the cycle of the death and rebirth. So if you need to get out of the cycle of death and rebirth, you got to know where your minds and eyes are. That's pretty much the Buddha's question to Ananda. Where is your eyes and minds? Okay, that's today's topic. And the same thing to us. Sometimes in our daily life, we have all kinds of physical and mental problems or issues. We need to know where the problem is. We need to know why we are so angry, why we are so upset, why we don't like this and why we like this. And if we don't know where the things originated, and we try to take care of the branches, and instead of uproot the stems, you only trim the leaves, then the leaves will come out again and again. You never leave, or cease your vexations. So that's the same thing. And Buddha helped Ananda find out, what your problem is. You see something and then you like it. That's the problem. Okay. Then now we need to trace down where the minds and eyes are. So now, related to the levels of seeing with mind and eye, in the sutra, it's the same. Mind and eyes, when you use your eye to see something beautiful and then you love it, this process also has 3 levels. One is sensational, so subjective reaction with sensation. Okay, you saw it, you like it, and you love it, and you try to get it. Okay, that's the 12th link of the dependent origination was about. And then rational, objective response with knowledge. This knowledge is just not just like mundane knowledge, also is super mundane knowledge as well. So, okay, for mundane world, there are some criteria for you to judge that what is good and bad, beautiful or not. But and for practitioners, they have some knowledge as well. So for example, for enlightened one, they will know who is enlightened and who is not. They will not fool by our outlook or appearance or smile. And they, even though some people looks very handsome and smile all the time, the enlightened one can immediately see what's the problem in his mind. And most of us will be fooled, like this person looks good and he's happy, he is handsome, you know, he must has a good life. We will be fooled by the appearance. But for the enlightened people with supramundane knowledge, they will know, you know, what's in your mind. Sometimes they have super knowledge to know what we ordinary people do not know. Okay, so this is called rational response. And then for the third level of seeing, is beyond subjective reaction and objective response. It's called non-dual abiding with the true reality. Basically, Buddha with his Buddha eyes, he sees everything without duality. Everyone pretty much equal, because what Buddha sees are our true nature, the originally non-defiled true nature. Okay, so Buddha see every sentient beings as Buddha, and we sentient beings see everyone as ordinary sentient beings. So that's because the seeing process with our mind and eyes are different at different levels. Okay, now we go to the main topic about the 7 places to find the mind. Now, Buddha trying to ask, you know, help Ananda to find where your minds and eyes are. And that's very important. Without knowing where the minds and eyes are, it's difficult to transcend, okay? Now, there are seven replies regarding this question, where is the mind? And it looks simple, but it's actually, for me, it's quite deep. I have to admit that I cannot explain that like completely explain what Buddha was talking about. But then I will pick up some of the content that help myself and help you understand why Ananda did not get the answer. And each Ananda's answer actually is very deep, although the answer looks simple, okay? First, people laughed, right? Mind is in the body. It sounds full, but that's what our ordinary people's experience. The mind is in the body, okay? So Ananda said to the Buddha, the 10 classes of being, you know, in the whole Dharma Dhatu, in all the worlds, believe that the conscious mind is the world in the body. And as I regard, you know, the Buddha, I know that they are part of, you know, when I look at Buddha's eyes, I know that they are part of Buddha's face, just like us, you know, the eye is on our face, right? Clearly, they are also part of his body. So the eye is part of our body on our face. So when we see something and we know something, it's so obvious that this physical this physical organ, which responds to 4 kinds of, okay, this physical organ, the eyes, which responds to 4 kinds of perceived objects, are part of my face. And so my conscious mind too is surely found within my body. So here, if you can be Chinese, 福根四尘. This means the four kinds of perceived object, the physical organs which responds to four kinds of perceived object has special meaning here. So here the answer is, of course, the mind is in the body because you see your eyes is on the face, on this body, and then you see something and your mind's behind your eyes and making the big judgment, right? Now, I better make this table, okay. We have eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body, the 5 organs that we can use to perceive the environment, right? And this eye and ear are made of, there are 3 major things that made of this eye organ. The first is called the great elements, the 4 great elements. The property of these 4 elements is hardness, fluidity, and heat and motion. Okay, these 4 elements made of this organ and the so-called objective rupa is called the visible, the smell, the taste, and the tangibility. And this 4 is called the objective rupa. So, and then also there's another part, it's called internal rupa. So objective is like sort of like outside rupa and the inside external rupa and the internal rupa that need to combine with the 4 elements to make just one organs. Okay, so for eye organ, you need internal eye elements, and ear need ear element, and so on and so forth. So this kind of rupa things, okay, is detailed, has been described in some of the Theravada sutras. If you're interested, you can check it out. So what Buddha was talking about, your eyes, the physical organs that made of these all elements is on your face, okay? Is on the face. Another says that. So the mind must behind it. And then so the 6 organs become the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind, right? And what's behind them is the mind, or in scientific view is brain. It's the brain and neuron that process the information. And then Buddha that's our ordinary experiences for all levels of beings, that our mind is in the body, and the 6 organs, the 5 organs are the sensor to get the information from outside and then process inside. And so we know what's happening outside. And now Buddha's ask, okay, Buddha ask Ananda, so, okay, your mind is in your body. Can you see your heart, your liver, your spleen, or stomach, or all the inner organs? Or at least, can you detect the growing of the hair, your nails, hair, the twisting of their sinews, and the throbbing of their pulse? If you cannot see really inside organs, can you see the superficial physical phenomenon? And when you are not able to see these things, how can you say that your mind is in the body, right? Because the mind is the one that to tell or to discriminate or to be aware. And since your mind is definitely, as Buddha continues, since your mind is definitely not visually cognize what is inside your body, how can it have knowledge of what is outside your body? You know, logically speaking, that's, you can know that when you say that the mind is, that is aware and make distinctions, is inside the body, this is all wrong. Well, we can accept this by the knowledge. But the problem is, okay, we found a lot of near-death experience story. Many people told us, you know, and probably we also have this story from our close family members that, you know, when people die, then our conscious minds leave our body, right? Even when we die, we still think that our mind is in the body. So that's why, you know, people say the soul or the conscious mind or whatever that sustain our life, the spirit was in the body, and after we die and that leave our body. That's our experience. Then Buddha said, I'm sorry, it's not. Your mind is not in the body. And so for meditation practitioners, we need to focus our mind first on our body. For example, in the North Sphere area, because when we don't know where our mind is, and then it's scattered around just like a jumping monkey, the expedient way first is to focus the mind, you know, on one place, okay? But the first, our common experience that we feel the mind is in the body was denied by the Buddha. And second, the Ananda go on, she continued to try to answer, try to find the mind. Where the mind is, the second part, the second question is, okay, it's not inside, then it's outside the body. Okay. Just like, you know, you see the lamp, if the lamp, which means the mind, if the lamp is outside of the house, so we can see what's outside, but the room is dark, so we cannot see what's in the room, right? So that's also some practitioner, you know, also our experience as well, because we sit here, basically we see things outside. If you kind of know that all the perceptions are manifested by the mind, and then you see the things manifest outside, and then you cannot see inside, means your mind is out functioning outside, and yet it cannot see the body inside. That's straightforward, right? And the Buddha said to the Ananda, the monks, okay, if that's true, there are many monks follow me to Sravasi to receive their alms. I have finished my meal, but consider other monks. Can all of them be full when only one person has eaten? That means if I eat and I'm full, then everybody feel the same way, that they are full and they don't want to eat more. The body could not be aware of what the mind has knowledge of. And the mind would have no knowledge of what the body is aware of. Now, as I hold up my hand, does your mind distinguish it? when your eyes see it. That means, okay, Buddha tried to help Ananda understand that, if the mind is outside, then first, if one people is full, then everybody should feel the same way. And if somebody aware of something, then you should know as well. But this is not our experience, right? We have to eat. Everyone has to eat to feel full. And then you only know your sensation. I don't know how you feel. Your physical body is itching or is sore or something. I don't know. I can't feel. I only can feel my body, right? So this is wrong again. The third one, the mind is hidden in the eye faculty. Okay, now, Ananda is very smart, right? It's not inside, it's not outside. Then it's here, in the eyes, hidden in the eyes. So when my eyes see anything, I know. And also, if you look at the structure, this is the painting, okay? This is the eye, and basically, can you see the score? And then the mind is behind the eyeball, probably around the antenna. And then, when you see something, and then and then there's no inside and outside problem, okay, just with the eyes. So just like, you have a crystal cover, a crystal cups that covers your eyes. So you can still see things clearly, but then you can see outside, but you cannot see inside because I only can see outside, right? One-sided. So it gazes at what is outside the body in seeing clearly and without impediments. So the mind is hidden in the eyes, okay? The Buddha say, if in fact your mind can be compared to someone's eyes with crystal plates over them, then when you look at the world of perceived object, why don't you see your eyes, right? Because the mind is behind your eyes and in front of your body, on the surface of the body. But then, can't you see your eyes? And our daily experience told us that we cannot see our eyes. If we cannot see our eyes, and then your eyes could be part of your external surroundings. If you can see it, because we see things outside, right? Then your eyes become the outside elements, but your mind and eyes could not work together to make distinctions. Because if your mind is here on the surface and then your eye is outside, they cannot connect and work together to make distinctions. This is, from question 1 to 3, this is more like physical analysis. When Ananda feel that the mind is physically outside of the body, or physically inside the body, or physically on the surface of the body in the organs, they are all denied by the Buddha. Okay, then now Ananda continue. Okay, then our internal organs, light concealed in darkness. The organ is concealed in the body in dark, but our sensual organs light open in the light on the surface. Okay, what happened? Can I minimize? Gallery. Then can you all still see the okay. So now facing the Buddha with my eyes open, I see light. Seeing that light, I could call seeing outside. Seeing darkness, when I close my eyes, would call seeing inside. So now Ananda bring up the elements of brightness and darkness, because that's a very important conditions for us to see. If there is a light, we can see. If it's in dark, then we cannot see. So now Ananda trying to feel that. So we cannot see what's inside because we are seeing darkness. And we can see outside because we are seeing the brightness. And so this brightness and darkness are very important for us to decide that what we see is inside or what we see is outside. Okay, so that, makes sense. Okay, that now we get to kind of logically analysis, but it's not. Okay, for example, so now Ananda trying to tell that the mind that function differently with and without light. Okay, when there is a light, you can see outside. When it's dark, you see inside. When we close our eyes, we see darkness, right? And because the organ concealed in the body is in the dark, so that's why we cannot see it, because it's in the dark. And when we open our eyes, there's a light. And then so we can see things outside. Okay, that's the reason. And then Buddha answered that, trying to ask, okay, good. When you close your eyes and see darkness, if the darkness is in front of your eyes, how can it be inside? That means when you close, you see the darkness. It's actually darkness is in front of you. So it's not inside. But if in fact it were inside, if you still insist that the darkness you see when you close your eyes is inside, then when you're in a dark room, totally, completely dark room, and the dark room will become your own inside. That means the outside dark room is become your inside if you insist that when you close your eye, the darkness you see is inside. Okay, and again, that's logical analysis. So if the darknesses were not in front of you, how could you see it besides? Okay, if the darkness is not in, whatever that is not in front of you, how can you see it? That's another way to say it. Okay, through Buddha's analysis, it all sounds stupid, like Ananda, how can Ananda, reply these questions, reply this answer, But again, this is our daily experience as well. For example, I don't know when you do the meditation, when you have your eyes slightly open or you have your eyes closed. Then we have to check. All the practitioner need to check. When you have your eyes slightly open, right? And you think you are using your mind, you're concentrating your mind. Is your mind, you see the light, right? Is your mind really inside your body? For example, on your nostril area, when you see something. And when you close your eyes, you think that, oh, my mind must be with my body right now. Is that true? Is your mind really, could it be outside your body? How, when we have our eyes open, and actually our mind tend to grasp something outside. So it's easily that we grasp something outside and not easy to bring our mind back to focus on the body. And when we, because we think that because there's light, we can easily see things outside. But when we close our eyes and there is no there is not attractions from the outside, and we think that, oh, my mind is with my body, but actually it's not. It's following your wandering thought. Okay, your mind is scattered around, and so you will have this perception that when you close your eyes, that your mind is with your body, and actually it's not. And when you have eyes open and you think that your mind is grasping outside, but it can be, through practice, it can be that your mind and body are united, and you still perceive things outside normally. Okay, so this kind of inside and outside, darkness and brightness, things will become something that a practitioner need to be aware of when we meditate. And so here, we still talk about, the mind, the object, and the organs. In the Yogacara school, there is statements talking about that, all the ignorant people have difficulty distinguish consciousness mind from the organs. Because at this point, we still think that we cannot separate it, the mind and the organs. So the perception itself, we still cannot tell that the receiver, the perceiver and the distinguisher, they kind of mess up together. And of course, the object parts we can tell. And then it's really hard to tell that it's the eye see the object or the mind see the object. That's another and very important topics for the next talk about where is our true nature. That is that the eye see the object or the mind see the objects. Up to this point, Ananda did not get to the point until the number 5. Now, so all the 4 previous reply are still Ananda's analysis or Ananda's experience based on the physical experience, physical point of view. Okay, now the number 5, finally, Ananda get to the point that is more metaphysical. So the minds come into being in response to conditions. Okay, we hear a lot because that's what Ananda heard as well. So Ananda says that I have heard the Buddha teach the 4 assembly that because a state of mind arises, various perceived objects arise, and that because perceived objects arise, various states of mind arise. We hear this a lot, right? The causes and condition and conditional arise, that kind of theory. So Ananda continue saying that I am now thinking. And that thinking entity is the true nature of my mind. Okay. And the minds come into being accordingly in response to various conditions by combining with the perceived objects whenever they arise. It does not exist in just one of the three locations: inside, outside, and the middle. Okay. That means inside of the body, outside of the body, or in the middle of the eyes. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. It's not all physical. Ananda did not use the physical location anymore. Now we get to more metaphysical. Okay, when my mind sees something, okay, I'm thinking, I'm thinking, oh, I know, I see something. Then there is an entity, a so-called thinking entity or seeing entity. That is my true mind that combined with the object. So because there's an object, so my mind can see it. And this perception, the mind, that be aware of the object arise. My eye contact with the object, then the awareness of the existence of the object, mind, that the mind arise. And because my mind arise, and then there are different, dharma arise. So this kind of process produce the mind. And now this statement actually very similar to René Descartes' philosophy, okay, the so-called metaphysical idealism. So we all know that I think, therefore I am. Because I'm here, that's why I can think, or the other way around, I think, that's why I exist. And we cannot doubt of our existence while we doubt. So the statement becomes, I doubt, therefore I think, therefore I am. Okay, so Descartes asserted that the very act of doubting one's own existence served at minimum as proof of the reality of one's own mind. There must be a thinking entity, in this case, the self, for there to be a thought. So the answer number 5 from Ananda get to more metaphysical, but his metaphysical theory is a little bit different from the metaphysical idealism from René Descartes. Okay, here is it is following is the reason. Okay, the Buddha then tried to analyze this answer in more detail, because this is more deep right now. Finally get close to get out of the physical analysis, and now get to the metaphysical, more spiritual, more mental level. Okay, so the problem is, okay, such a mind as this, that you say that the mind, the mind arises when the eye sees, when the eye sees, perceives something and combine with the object. And this kind of mind would have no essential nature of its own, and so could not combine with anything. If your mind arises because of the perceptions, and this mind come and go, so there is no essential nature. And if having no essential nature of its own, if it still were able to combine with perceived object, then there will be a 19th constituent element of perceptions, because such a mind would be combining with the 7th categories of perceived objects, and that is impossible. Okay, here, with the essential nature or not become an issue. Okay, we all know that in Buddha's Buddhist theory that there are 6 organs and 6 objects and 6 consciousness, and it becomes this 18 realm. And this 18 realm is a description of all our existence. And then so now, and they all have, all these 6 realm has the essential nature. Now, Ananda claimed that there is a mind that is conditioned aroused mind. And then that can combine with perceived object, then this become an extra. Okay, so now the question is, does the conditioned minds have true nature or not? Then we have to talk about Buddhist points of view regarding the true nature. Okay, there are 2 terms to know. One is called Buddha Tathata. Okay, so that in Buddhism is called the true nature, and it's the meaning of it. The purpose of this term is to oppose to the appearance of the manifest world. So it is that which beauty is, in contrast to all that is transient. And that's, in Mahayana, it is called the Buddha nature. And the other term is called Dharmata. Okay, the basic meaning of it is the true nature of the phenomenal existence. Anything that exists has his nature, true nature. Okay, so based on this true nature, Buddha asked Ananda, does the conditional mind arouse has the true nature or not? And it comes from inside or outside. For example, if you think that the eye sees something and the mind arises, this arising mind is from inside or outside. If it's outside or inside, then it becomes the same question as the answer number 1 and number 2. Right? If this conditioned mind has true nature, right? It arises something real, and then it's inside or outside. Then you go back to the answer of number 1 and number 2. The mind is inside or mind is outside. So it doesn't make sense. So Ananda immediately clarify. Sorry. It is, Ananda tell Buddha, sorry. It is the eyes that see, and it is the mind that is aware, not the eyes. So I did not propose that the mind sees. Okay, it's not what I mean. Okay, so the eye sees, the mind is aware of it. This is the wrong view, and this is the core teaching. Based on this statement, Buddha's elaborate in the following chapters that who is seeing? What is the I see or the mind see things? That we will talk about it in the next chapter. Is it the I see or the mind sees? Okay. Buddha say, okay, if you think that it's the I see or the I sees, then when someone has died with his eyes still intact, his eyes would see, but how could a dead person see? Means when you just die, you know, your eyes still intact, still warm. Can you see? If you cannot, how can you say that it's I that see? Right? Speechless right now. Okay, but our Ananda continue, not giving up. Okay, now it get to more high level. Okay, so what's number 5 answer is different from Rene Descartes is that Descartes claimed that the thinking entity is the self. The self means is the eternal, is the master. Okay, but here our number 5 Buddha's answer is that thinking has no true nature, not the self, not the true entity, the thinking entity or seeing the entity at all. Okay, so we go further. So Ananda say, okay, that's the mind is in the middle. This middle is not the middle of the eyes. Okay, it's the middle because Ananda says that I have also heard the Buddha say that the mind is neither inside the body nor outside of it. Therefore, since the mind's awareness and the body's awareness are not separated, and since the mind does not see what is inside, so the mind must be in the middle. Now, the middle come up again. Buddha need to clarify. So what do you mean by middle? Okay, what is this middle of yours? Ananda say, okay, for seeing to occur, as the Buddha has said, the eyes and visual object, the organ and the object are necessary conditions to produce eye consciousness, right? The eye need to contact with the object for us to know that there is an object, be aware of that there is an object. So the eyes record visual distinctions and the object that are seen have no awareness, that's for sure. And between them, the eye consciousness is produced. The mind's there, so abstract, okay? That means the middle means between the sensual organs and its object. Now, the Buddha says that if your mind were derived from the eye faculty and the object it perceived, would the mind's essential nature as both that of the eye faculty and of its object, or neither? So here, the 6 organs contact with the 6 objects, then it produces the 6 consciousness that Ananda called the mind. Okay, and 6 organs is a sensual organ that has sensibility, and the object is insensible materials. So one can know and one can know and the other cannot know. When you combine these two, the mind you produce, what is the entity? What is the quality of this mind? For example, if you we can mix milk with water, right? You dilute the milk with water, they mix together very well, 100%. But if you mix water with oil, then they are very different property, right? You try to mix them together, they just be separated. So now 6 organs which has essential ability, you are mixing the one with sensual ability with the one that has not sensual ability. You mix them together. What does the mind look like? Is that insensual or sensual? Okay, so when you mix water and oil, and how do you call it? A bottle, how do you call it? If you combine these two, that's these two, the oil and water has opposite. It's so different, the property. And if they don't have these two property, and then what is this? And what is the nature, the quality of this mind? So now here, Ananda's problem, or our problem, is that we think that the sixth consciousness is our true mind. And that's pretty much the Theravada practitioners' view, that the sixth consciousness is the mind. Okay. Now, through Ananda's answer, and Buddha tried to point out that it's impossible. When our eyes see something and you produce the mind, it's not it. So, okay, last try. It's not, okay, the sixth consciousness, the Theravada teachings always think that, the sixth consciousness, if you can, it's our true mind, the mind, and now it's not. And it's not through the combination, the combination of the eye and the object. Now, last try is, okay, Ananda say, Buddha, I have often heard you say that the mind, it's nature, okay. In Chinese, it's called xing xing, okay. It's actually two meanings. So in English, I just combine them together. The mind and its nature that is aware and then makes distinctions. It's not located inside or outside or in the middle. It is not located in any places. And that which is non-abiding is called the mind. And the so-called non-abiding, be my mind. Okay, now he starts to have a suspicious. It's non-abiding, like Diamond Sutra. Non-abiding, right? We all heard a lot of 无住生心嘛. So the non-abiding mind, the non-abiding is my mind. Okay. Now it's go to beyond. Now this answer is beyond metaphysical, right? That related to the existence or non-existence. Now, since all the answers related to the existence categories are denied by the Buddha, now Ananda switched to the non-existence extreme. Now then, non-abiding. Whatever abide is not our mind. Non-abiding is our mind. Okay. Sounds very close to what we heard, right? The enlightened people say, non-abiding. Then Buddha says, sorry. So you call that the non-abiding is your mind. Then does the mind with its nature that you suppose has no specific location exist or not exist? Do they exist? If it does not exist, then no need to talk about it because the mind does not exist. But now, what lacks attribute does not exist, and what does exist has attributes. Whatever the things exist has its attributes that we can describe or we can locate it. And whatever has attribute does exist somewhere. How can you say then that does not? How can you say that does not abide in any place? That the mind does not abide in any places. Therefore, you should know that it is impossible to call whatever does not abide in anywhere the mind, which knows and is aware. You see, your mind knows something. Your mind can be aware of something. So it's impossible. It must abide somewhere in order to function, right? So your answer saying that, sorry, the non-abiding is your mind's is wrong. Okay. So from these 7 answers, we can divide it in many ways regarding Ananda's answers with different logics or elements or criteria. Okay, at least existent and non-existent are 2 criteria, 有跟无. Okay, so the first 6 answers regarding existence and the 7th answers regarding the non-existent is all wrong. It's not a true middle way. Or we can use the physical or metaphysical to the point that I think is number 4 or number 5, that is more physical analysis about the location of the mind. And then eventually get to the metaphysical analysis of the location of the mind. Okay, but it's all wrong. And why is all wrong? And Ananda ran out of the questions. He was so upset. Then he starts to return to Buddha saying that, I heard the Dharma so much, I can memorize all the Dharma, Buddha, you have taught. But then I still could not resist the spell on me. And I was lured into a house of courtesan. And all the reason is because I do not know how to find the realm of true reality. Now Ananda knows. I know all the knowledge. I can memorize everything. But I do not have the true knowledge of the knowledge of the true reality of the true nature of the mind. So when I encounter these challenges, I just cannot help. I have no control of myself. So I only hope that the world honor one, out of the pity and great kindness, will instruct us in the path of calming the mind, or the path of the wondrous samatha, and that will guide people who have no trust in Dharma and will counteract the wrong tendency of the uncivilized. And so please just taught us the method of the wondrous samatha so that we can see our true nature, the true reality. Okay, so Buddha continue. I know you are very upset. You heard all my teaching. That's why you come up 7 answers for finding where the mind is. But that's all partially, you only partially understand my teaching, Buddha's teaching, because your understanding does not base the true reality. And that's why you cannot get to the point. And so that continue. So the reason for people who undertake a spiritual practice fail to realize the ultimate enlightenment is because they do not understand 2 fundamentals and are mistaken and confused in their practice. That's all happened to us. So all of the practitioners who want to follow the path to the Buddhahood or want to follow the path to reach the ultimate enlightenment, we all know these 2 fundamentals. If we don't understand that, we are just like someone who cook sand. And no matter how long we cook, eons of times, no meal will result from it. You cannot make a meal out of sand, no matter how long you cook it. And so what are these 2 fundamentals? That's the key points of this Śurangama Sutra. The first fundamental is called the deluded mind. It is the basis of death and rebirth without beginning. Just like a dream, no beginning, right? When we know about a dream, it starts already. And so does our cycle of death and rebirth. When we know it, we're already in this cycle. And the basis for that is our deluded mind. And it's due to the grasping mind that you and ordinary beings consider to be your own self. In other words, this grasping mind, we think this is our true mind and this is our true self, just like Rene Descartes. I'm thinking, so therefore I am, right? Therefore I exist. This is the thinking entity is the self. But here Buddha says, sorry, that thinking entity is not your true mind. It's also deluded mind. And that's because we keep using grasping mind to operate all the things, not with our true mind. So the other, of course, is about the true mind. So we know what the deluded mind is, and we also need to see what our true mind is. Otherwise, all the practices, no matter how hard, how long we practice with the method, we never reach enlightenment. So the second fundamental is the original pure essence of Bodhi, enlightenment, and nirvana, which also has no beginning. It is the essence of consciousness and the original understanding of yours, which give rise to all conditioned phenomena. And yet it is what's left when all the conditional phenomena ceased. So in other words, this original pure essence already in us. It's already there, and it's always pure. This is in us since time without beginning. And then this true mind gives rise to everything, all the phenomena, all the illusory condition in the phenomena. Just like, Chang Hwa Fashi always say, the ocean and waves, right? The true mind is just like the ocean. And illusory mind is like waves. So the true minds, it gives rise to all the conditioned waves, come and go, come and go. But when the waves gone, there's no wind. When the ocean come back to its calm and steady state, the true mind is still there. Okay, so now Ananda requests, how to calm our mind. What is this wondrous samatha to calm our mind so we don't distract or confuse with the waves, and we can see the true minds when all the conditional phenomena ceased. Great. So that's the beginning. That's also Buddha used chapter 1 to help Ananda knows that what you know about the minds are all illusory. They are all deluded minds, not your true mind. So we need to understand what is the illusory mind, and also we need to understand what is our original pure true mind. And that will be the teaching of the chapter 2. Buddha used 10 aspects to show what is the true nature of our mind.